Yes. Mhm. This is your back, a user's guide. Yes. And this is the spine, right? And it looks like it's connected to the ribs. Yes. And this is the pelvic bone. Yes. Now, we talked about these shoulder blades, right? And the calcium balls, Bill Gates. Yes. Various frequencies that can be attached to them. Yeah. And then there's some pick marks on the back of the back of my skull. Yes. And then somebody thought that they were going to use the vertebrae of the spine. Yes. And then there was the use of chromium, known as it. Yep. Now, some of this organic technology, snake, ooh, can actually get into the bone marrow of the actual bone. I called them metalheads, but really they become metal skeletons. Yes. Now, it's important to me as a father that I remove all the chromium from my my son's bodies. Yes. And I wanted to see if Marilyn would like to know if there's any nanotechnology in her body or the bodies of her kids. Maybe Mike was feeding them a little snake food, some nanotechnology. That when you understand nanotechnology, it can burrow into, it kind of drills into, yes, into the actual bone marrow, the spinal fluid. Yes, yes. And then inside of these bones, right, there's a type of protein. Pooch! Now, this vertebrae, um, who was it that decided that they were going to be the back? You had to have control, and you decided to use some nanotechnology. You call it snake, but the truth is you can sew into the actual skeleton of a person's body, yes, and have complete control of what they do and what they say. And Bill and Melinda Gates have been very involved in technology for the last 25 years. What's to say that you didn't sew Marilee into Marilyn and she could not speak without that piece of shit controlling what she would say? Pooch. And then you sewed a Marilee into Marilyn's actual bones, the bone of my bone. And she could not move without Mike Van Proing knowing where she was going or what she was doing. Yes. And then how about you used all six of her children? Now, you in the police department have been ignoring nanotechnology. I had thought, yes, that Meryl Lynn, the wife of Mike Van Proyen, needed to sew into me and I needed to sew into her so that I could be her skeleton and she could be mine. Now, when, well, what's the shit that you've been feeding people? Yes. That you had to be on them. Oh, that is a kind of organic nanotechnology, yes, that uses the actual marrow of the bones, yes, so that when it replicates itself, right, it increases in amount and size of the control of the actual skeleton of the person known as a citizen. Why don't you call Bill and Melinda Gates? Now, Melinda, it's Paul. Let's say that you, well, I'm just going to want to know, okay? Pooch. I want Marilyn Van Proyen to not have Marilee on her, yes. And I don't want her sewn to Mike, yes. Now, if she decides that she's not going to have sex with me, yes, I appreciate that because I'm not going to suggest to Marilyn that she should ever do anything that she doesn't want to do. But if she wants to be my back, choo choo, and I want to be hers, yes, that means I'm going to want to be her skeleton, yes. And that means I want to speak to her because I think, coach, having a clone on you for the last decade, is really enslavement of United States citizens because of the use of technology and then the use of not just DNA foods, yes, nanotechnology. Now, let's ask Mike Poe. Mike, how did you sew into the skeletons of each and every citizen so that you control what they do with their bodies, right hand, and you control what they say with their mouths?